A big salute, family. Let's get it.
Henry Kissinger leaves behind a complicated legacy after passing away at age 100.
Foreign policy has to reflect the continuing values of the American people.
Instantly recognizable with his thick glasses and deep voice, Kissinger forged U.S. foreign policy during critical moments in American history. He fled Nazi Germany in the 1930s, eventually becoming a U.S. citizen, then a political scientist at Harvard. In 1969, President Nixon named him National Security Advisor. 4 years later, Kissinger was Secretary of State, opening diplomatic relations with China and reducing tensions with the Soviet Union.
He changed the paradigm of the Cold War by establishing détente with the Soviets and being the architect of opening China and changing the Cold War dynamic.
But Kissinger also faced criticism. He was accused of supporting a right-wing coup in Chile. And he played a major role in the Nixon administration's policy that escalated, then ended the Vietnam War. Tensions rose when Kissinger helped orchestrate the controversial and secret U.S. bombing campaign in Cambodia, which killed tens of thousands of people.
He was labeled a war criminal, much to his consternation and concern.
The Watergate scandal led to Nixon's resignation, but Kissinger stayed on as Secretary of State under President Ford, eventually leaving office in 1977. But he'd continued to advise presidents of both parties for years to come.
Henry Kissinger, as much as anyone, was an emblem of American diplomacy and of foreign policy wisdom and sagacity.
His presence was felt on the world stage long after he left government, traveling to China this past summer, meeting with President Xi Jinping, and meeting with Ukraine's President Zelensky in September. Just last month, Kissinger spoke to an annual gala promoting U.S.-China relations. ABC News contributor and presidential historian Mark Updegrove spoke with him about his legacy.
So I've always been deeply grateful to this country, and I know what it represents to the peace in the world. I tried to do the best I could, and that's all I can say.
The Chinese ambassador to the U.S. released a statement overnight calling Kissinger a most valued friend of China. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
A big salute, family. This your brother K. Judah, giving all praise to the Most High Yah and faith in Yahshua HaMashiach. This is a man who goes by the name of Henry Kissinger. If you do not know who this man is, family, do you some research. But this man has passed on. He gone, family. And I know at the sound of this man, at the sound of his death, Sheol opened up wide to receive this man. Henry Kissinger is also a part of the elite bloodline families. Henry Kissinger is also a part of the bloodline families of the elite. We talking the Rockefellers, the Bilderbergs, the DuPonts, the Kennedys. Now I understand what the scripture means, that the Most High would not allow these wicked men to perform their enterprise. You don't think this man wanted to be alive to see a new world order? Because nobody called for a new world order more than Henry Kissinger. George Bush, daddy, he was always saying it, but nobody called for a new world order more than Henry Kissinger. All your presidents been in bed with this man. You got Nixon, you got Bush, you got Obama. They all been in bed with this man. And you know that he was a so-called Jew that came from Germany. So you already know what that mean. They in bed with all your politicians, all your entertainers, because they control everything, family. So So when you hear people be talking about the Jews don't control the media, the Jews don't control entertainment, the Jews don't control Hollywood, that is a bold-faced lie, y'all. We know they control it because they in bed with all your athletes, all your Hollywood movie stars, and all your entertainers. So Henry Kissinger has passed on, and I know when he died, man, the grave opened up wide to receive this man. Go do your research on Henry Kissinger. And after this little small commentary, I want you to watch this video that I'm going to play at the end of this commentary. Then it's going to make sense to you. So now I understand the scripture that the wicked is soon cut down like grass. This is why we do not supposed to envy the wicked, because they shall soon be cut down like grass. I want to read something, then I'm out of here. I want to read the book of Psalms chapter 1. And before I read this, let me say this. I understand that even in the biblical times, our people was associated in politics. What you talking, K. Judah? Daniel, when he was in a Babylonian captivity, he had a prominent position. A lot of Esther had a prominent position. So the point that I'm making is that our people was working and had prominent positions even in captivity. So I'm not saying that our people can't be in politics. I'm not saying that our people can't have prominent positions, but I want you to hear what the Bible says. See, Daniel had a prominent position, but he did not stand in the congregation of the ungodly. He did not stand in the council of the ungodly. And that's how we supposed to be. Even if you have a high-ranking position in captivity, you do not supposed to stand in the council of the ungodly, especially if it's against your people. So let's go to Psalms chapter 1. And then I'm going to play this video at the end, and then I'm out of here. Psalms chapter 1. And your brother K. Judah going to pick it up at verse 1. Do not envy the oppressor. Do not envy the wicked. Do not envy the oppressor, and do not envy the wicked. Psalms chapter 1 verse 1. And it reads, blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standing in the way of sinners, nor sitting in the seat of the scornful. So it's not that our people can't have a position, but you do not supposed to stand in the counsel of the ungodly. You do not supposed to participate in their wicked enterprise. You're supposed to separate yourself. Just like going to work, then you go home. You're not supposed to be mingling in their parties. You're not supposed to be going to these satanic events. Verse 1 again. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standing in the way of sinners, nor sitting in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law do he meditate day and night, just like Daniel did. Just like Daniel did in the Babylonian captivity. He was always praying, fasting, and meditating on the law of his God. And he always prayed towards the east, looking at his homeland and having his mind focused on that, instead of having his mind focused on being in the counsel of the ungodly. Verse 3. And he should be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also should not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. The ungodly are not so, but are like the shaft which the wind driveth away. Therefore the ungodly should not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord know the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. So even though Henry Kissinger lived a long life, 100 years old, he has perished and moved on. And I'm telling you, family, Sheol opened up its mouth wide to receive this man. And I say big salute.
You're about to meet a Woodland Hills, California housewife who discovered she was leading a terrifying double life. A warning, what you're about to see may leave you sickened, stunned, and outraged. But one thing's certain, you'll never forget the story of Bryce Taylor.
My name is Bryce Taylor, and I'm a 48-year-old native Californian. Until 1995, I suffered from a debilitating condition known as multiple personality disorder. In 1985, I embarked on the long and tedious, painful road to recovery. Through years of therapy and deprogramming, I completely reintegrated my multiple personalities back into my uniform core self, and through the grace of God, I am alive today to convey to you my true life experiences. This account of my remembrances will be so shocking and amazing that you may feel that you've entered the twilight zone. Until 1985, really, I thought I was living a perfect life. I thought I had a perfect childhood. I thought I had, perfect parents and family, and that my family that I married was perfect. It couldn't have been farther from the truth. My multiple personality condition resulted from what I had first thought in 1986 was solely sexual and ritual abuse. But as I began to remember and heal more of my hidden past, I realized that ritual abuse was merely the mind control, trauma base my pedophile father and others used to condition me for participation in Project Monarch, the Central Intelligence Agency's white slavery operation. Mind control sex slaves are created by starting with a child from birth and inducing trauma, which for me was done in the form of being sexually abused and then being satanically abused within a church, and then also at home where I was put through a trial of satanic rituals, which means there were blood rituals done where I was forced to witness animals and people being sacrificed. And then things such as in the church, I was sexually abused by the minister there. And a lot of it was a cover for pornography and then child prostitution that looked like I was going to choir practice, but once the doors were closed to the area where we did that, we were taken down the basement, and it turned into kiddie porn where we were being filmed.
I was an FBI agent for 27.5 years. At the time of my retirement, I was the senior special agent in charge of the FBI Los Angeles Division. I have been qualified in the courts as an expert on cults and satanic ritual abuse. I'd have to say that Bryce Taylor's story has been confirmed over and over again through my various sources. I also have contacts on the inside of the U.S. intelligence community. I have information from various sources that judges, law enforcement, prosecutors, attorneys, doctors, and many, many prominent individuals, including actors, actresses, professional football and baseball players, are involved in these type activities. After
I fled from California, I began having vivid, detailed memories of being used as a sex slave to some of our nation's highest level government officials. Among them were John F. Kennedy, Lyndon Baines Johnson, Nelson Rockefeller, Henry Kissinger, Gerald Ford, Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, George Bush, and top entertainment professionals such as my owner, Bob Hope. The truth is that there are slave auctions that very elite people attend to be able to own and buy the best mind control slaves that money can buy. Frank Sinatra was Bob Hope's friend, and he actually was the person that was in charge of me a lot when I was in Las Vegas on assignment. I would be taken there to be prostituted to Elvis or to some of the other entertainers there during the shows. Dean Martin, Bing Crosby, Sammy Davis Jr., and all types of different situations. And I would be taken to different parties where they were at, where then I was prostituted, or they would make some pornography or something. The theme of the pornography filmed by Sylvester Stallone was sex with dolphins, and he was filming a lot of these young girls with the dolphins, and that was actually pornography that was shared with a lot of people later on. They filmed us over years with all sorts of animals. I mean, it was gross. There was a film that was made when Kelly was a very little girl. It was called Mommy and Me, and it was, just incestual themes of all sorts of interfamilial sex. And during the time all this was happening, I was under total mind control, and so was Kelly. We didn't even know this was going on. We were just puppeted like robots to do these things. I know that some of my perpetrators were actually known Satanists, and some of them were not. I know that Sammy Davis Jr. actually painted his little fingernail with red nail polish and was actually part of a satanic group.
How does satanic ritual abuse play into all of these prominent people being involved in this stuff?
If you go back 225 or 30 years ago, you have what we call the Illuminati that was established in 1776. And the goals of the Illuminati, this is all very well documented, are to take over the world. One of the best ways of taking over the world is to control people's minds and to take over a country through the control of the minds. So what's happening in America, and based on my research and my interviews with numerous individuals, is that the powers that be, the higher-ups, the people in the Illuminati, are using the satanic cults as a means and as a tool to condition individuals and to make them victims of the mind control, MK Ultra mind control program. There's probably close to 4 million practicing Satanists in the United States alone, based on my intelligence information.
Why was it that the Queen of England saw you as being the perfect candidate for genetic engineering?
In a series of meetings that took place before Reagan was president, he took me to England, where we had private meetings with the Queen. During those meetings, I overheard them talking about my genetic structure and the bloodline that would house that genetic bloodline. And she was very interested in having Ronald Reagan be the father of that child. They decided that I would be impregnated for later breeding within the royal family. It's an experience that still causes me a lot of pain, and although I was under mind control and wasn't really aware of this for years, consciously, the full ramifications of this, I had thoughts about this baby, and I was depressed, and I was sad, and I wanted him back, and I cried for months afterwards. They kept saying that this would further American diplomatic relations with the UK, and that I was serving my country at the highest levels by making this contribution. But the truth is, it was not my choice, and I didn't make a willing contribution of my own child. And I'm hoping that my child, my son, will know who he is and will wake up.
If the Queen would be watching this show right now, what is a message that you would want to give to her?
I would just like to tell the Queen of England that whether a person's under mind control or not, that no one has a right to take a child from someone, and that if she didn't know I was under mind control, that I would, understand, but that, I would just appeal to her as a mother and ask for her cooperation in this situation, that I could be at least reunited with my son.
Dipping on my haters. Dipping on my haters. Dipping on my haters. Dipping on my haters. I be dipping on my haters. Oh, we ain't done? One more? Oh, let's go again then. Dipping on my haters. Dipping on my haters. Dipping on my haters. Dipping on my dipping on my haters.